Welcome to R for Investigators and Analysts. My name is Jim Harris, and I started my career as an engineer and scientist at IBM in the mid-1990s. Shortly after 9/11, I joined the FBI, where I spent more than a decade as a special agent. Today, I still serve as a technology and cybersecurity consultant to the U.S. government. That's what convinced me to introduce as many investigators and intel analysts as possible to one of the fastest growing computer tools around. It's simply called R, and it's used by scientists and big data specialists around the world to analyze and visualize complex data sets. Well, what is R? Well, the R project website at www.r-project.org says, quote, R is a free software environment for statistical computing and graphics. It compiles and runs on a wide variety of Unix platforms, Windows, and Mac OS, unquote. A simpler answer might be, R is a simple way to manipulate and analyze data for free. Why would you want to learn R programming? Well, as I might have mentioned, it's free open source software. It's also powerful. The tools contained in R are used by scientists to analyze mind-boggling complex data sets, everything from social media posts to the human genome. R has a large developer community constantly churning out new R tools to help us understand the massive data sets around us. And of course, if I haven't mentioned it, it's free. But what can you do with it? Well, perhaps you want to do a deep dive on something as seemingly simple as the Twitter account of some individual. You might want to find out what applications they use to access Twitter. Maybe you want to map out any geotag tweets so you can see where they've been. You could interface with Google Maps and plot those locations on a map. Then you could pan and zoom around to see where this person has been. Hey, this looks kind of familiar, somewhere on the East Coast. If I zoom in here, interesting. You could then take a look at what hours of the day they're active to figure out when they work or go to sleep. Man, does this guy ever sleep or work? Maybe you want to see what days of the week they tweet the most. Gee, somebody sure has a lot to say Tuesday through Thursday. Of course, it might be helpful to heat map that out so you can simultaneously see the times of day and the days of the week. Man, somebody is really busy on Thursdays around 1 to 2 a.m. UTC. I think that's Wednesday 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. I wonder what sets this guy off. I could also analyze the followers of this account to see who he inspires. He seems to have a lot of them. Funny though, these account names seem really strange. If I sort them by date the accounts were created, it seems even more suspicious. It looks like the accounts are created every few seconds to follow this guy, and many of them seem to have random characters as names. They also have nearly sequential IDs, which is almost impossible. If I plot them by year created, I see a lot of them were created just this year. That's pretty unusual. If we take a look at what languages they speak, it seems a lot of the followers here speak English, but there's also a fair amount of Arabic, Portuguese, and even Russian. Those usernames looked funny, so I can drill in on those a little bit. Most Twitter screen names are around 9 or 10 characters long, but there seem to be a lot here that are 15 character names. That's the maximum Twitter allows. Kinda looks like they might be machine generated or something. You can go pull this data for yourself with the R-Tweet package for R. Come on. You know whose account it is. Let's shift gears to a completely different type of investigation, a computer network intrusion investigation. Network data often comes in this kind of tabular format, which is really hard to understand. If I make the data look like this instead, I can really begin to understand it. I can see which computers are talking to each other and on what protocols. I can zoom in and out. I can check out the different network events, pretty much anything. Graphs are just an easier way to understand network data. It's a more intuitive way to deal with it. Now remember, I did all of this with free software, and I'm not even a professional software developer. These are all tools I made myself. If you're ready to get started, you can download R at the R project at www.r-project.org. From here, you can download R for Windows, Mac, or Linux. There are mirror servers around the globe which host the files for R Just pick one near you to minimize your download time. There are a large number of helpful links here, including the frequently asked questions section with help on installing R. I'm not going to go into every installation procedure here, but if you check my GitHub repository for the series, which I'll show you in a moment, I do have some hints here, primarily for Linux users who sometimes have to work the hardest to get things up and running. Once you do get R installed, depending upon your version, it'll have a basic GUI like this. You can start a new R script and execute it from there. Hello world. The R console will let you do all of the things I'm going to show you, but there's a much easier way to write with R. It's called RStudio and it looks like this. RStudio is an integrated development environment, an IDE for R, and it makes it very simple to write R programs. In the top left quadrant, you have a window to edit your R scripts. On the right, you can keep watch over the variables in your environment as they change, which makes troubleshooting much easier. In the bottom right, I can see the files of my project, the plots I've made, and what packages I've loaded. I can get help for commands if I have a problem, and there's even a web browser-like viewer for my special visualizations, like this directed graph. Over in the bottom left-hand quadrant, I have the R console, where I can issue R commands. Hello world. You can download RStudio from their website at www.rstudio.com. The folks at RStudio have several products to enhance R. Some are free, others are not. The Twitter application I showed earlier was written with their Shiny package, which turns an R program into a web application. You can download RStudio for free, although there is a paid tier for support as well. Remember, you need R installed first. At the download page, you'll find automated installers for most every operating system, or you can download the compressed installation files or the source code if you're feeling really adventurous. In the spirit of free software, I'll be running R using freely available VirtualBox with an Ubuntu Linux version 16.04 virtual machine. As you see, it will run RStudio just fine. To help you get started, I've set up a GitHub repository with various aids based upon the things I'm doing here, including links to other sources of information. I'll also have folders for the various videos. Everything for this one will be in the folder Introduction. Inside that folder, you'll find tips for installing R and RStudio in Linux, a document with more detailed information about some of the demonstration code you saw here, and even some sample code you can try out to show you how easy and powerful R can be. In the sample code, you'll see lots of lines which begin with a number sign, or a pound sign, or a hashtag depending upon your generational preference. These are comments. They're just there to explain step by step what each line of the code does. Don't get scared by this. We'll start building up to it slowly next time. This R script plots computer network packet capture data. It's useful for some cyber investigations, and I've included a sample file of data for you to use. If you have any problems with the code, there's an issues section where you can raise new issues for me to address. I'll do my best to address them, but remember, I'm not getting paid for this, so it's a best effort basis only. If you really want to dive deep into R, there's some far more rigorous courses out there, some of which are free, such as on Coursera. If you search Coursera for R programming, you'll find plenty to keep you busy. I'm partial to the series from Johns Hopkins University. They have an entire specialization in data science which uses R. Udemy and others also offer courses online for R. Some of them may or may not be free, but they're certainly cheap. Okay, next time we're going to get down to the real work. To keep it interesting, we're going to investigate a fictional murder, analyzing digital evidence to look for clues, and learning about the power of open source software in the process. In the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to hit me up through the GitHub account, on Twitter, or connect with me on LinkedIn. Thanks very much for watching.